Not much was known about Molly's early childhood. Her older brother Otis was 12 years her senior. Molly's arrival in this world was unplanned and unexpected. While on a family summer trip to Seneca Rocks, when Molly was only 5, the unimaginable happened. Though all survived, Molly was horribly burnt and disfigured. The other car's occupants were not so fortunate. Molly's father, burdened by the mountains of medical bills, left his family without warning. Otis moved out shortly after to the town of Grafton. Molly's mother was forced to work double shifts at Mama Dolce's just to scrape by. Molly was an attendee at Morgantown High School. Because of her conditions, physically and financially. Molly was unfriended. Isolated by the other students, Molly was forced to eat her lunch alone. Her mother preoccupied with work, and her father absent. Molly turned to drugs and alcohol at an early age as coping mechanisms. She could often be found at the principal's office, receiving another suspension. They even told her the Halloween party was the day after the actual event. Her mother spent all she could on her dress. Molly had dwindling aspirations. Any chance of getting into VTU was fading fast. She did have a fake ID, however, and would trade favors to willing frat boys from the nearby chapter houses for booze and drugs. Her preferred establishment was a hotbed of testosterone-rich, favored traders. The Nuka Shine Speakeasy was always available for her leisure. She was not ignored here. In fact, she was extremely popular, happy to be passed around, perfecting her skills by whoever needed her services. And service them she did, 2 or 3 at a time, in BV Regis' back room that became a normal occurrence. This earned her an invite to the Edisai Epsilon townhouse. She was eager to try Louis' new drink concoction. Chasing the dragon, Nuka's shine would take her to the next level. And Louis had his own private quarters, where his payment could be received. Her reputation had extended to the Pi Kappa Mu house, where she was invited to participate in their non-stop celebration. A strong male role model and her mother's attentiveness withheld, she unwittingly was moving toward disaster. After passing out, she was chained up in their basement to be used as the common house receptacle. Authorities found her after several weeks. Molly would not recoup from this turning point. Unruly and ungovernable, she was committed to alligator. Because of her promiscuity, Molly had to be housed in the isolation units on the bottom floor, away from the other infirmed. For the next several years, this room was all Molly would come to know. Life's daily drip had programmed her well. In the depths of a mind insane, fantasy and reality are the same. The only company she had in those years was from a religious enthusiast who had an affinity for masks and the schoolyard. He would meet Molly on the other side, while masquerading as a camp counselor. Upon her release, Molly would return to Morgantown. But this was not the homecoming she had hoped for. Her former indiscretions and attributes had become a thing of lore amongst the citizens. Not even the unfamiliar frat boy would touch her. Her body was worn like a well-used baseball glove. She tried her hand at working. but her only skill set hardly kept her gainfully employed. Molly bounced from job to job. Most only lasted a few weeks. She could extend her tenure if a male manager needed consolation from a deprived marriage. Within a year, she had exhausted all options. Molly would relocate just outside of Clarksburg. Where her reputation was not an interference. She was able to get a job at a local rest stop diner, where travelers and locals alike would frequent. One man would stop every Friday on the way home from Grafton Steel. Arthur would work long hours. Being a CEO has its demands. He would only be home on the weekends, choosing to stay at Grafton Steel during the work week. But every Friday, on the way home, he would stop off to see Molly. Arthur had a satyr complex and a diminished love life due to work. He also had a crush on Molly. Molly tipped to Arthur, and after a very short courtship, the two would marry. Arthur had no idea the toxicity he had bonded himself to. Molly would quit working and take up residence at the Woods estate. Her husband's absence and weekend conjugal visits were testing Molly's fortitude. She would often entertain gentlemen callers while Arthur was at Grafton Steel. Molly had no investment in anyone, not even herself. Her entitlement reinforced her beliefs that all men were bad, abandoners that only wanted one thing. Molly contributed nothing but weekend fornication to her family, to Arthur. As her past turned into rage, she spiraled into a place so dark, not many have ventured to go there. Time and mental illness are a disastrous combination. Molly became disenchanted with her wifely duties. She embarked on fulfilling her wildest fantasies. She found an abandoned shack in the woods where she could hone her craft. She started with small animals, hacking and slashing the rage inside. The smell and taste of blood brought her the sexual gratification that no man ever had. She could stare for hours at the lifeless corpses, summiting repeatedly without physical contact, without a man. She had a hot tub she could fill with their blood, with the corpses of the souls she owned. She would immerse herself with them, in them. For a time, there were plenty of subjects Molly could rule over. A short stroll through the mountains would provide ample grist for the mill. Some would try to defend themselves, but inevitably end up in the hot tub reception. Molly would catch them off guard and then overpower them with hate. She would stop at small-town pubs, listening to conversations, searching for her next victim. But Molly's favorite indulgence was a nice, happy family, with a loving father, enjoying the day together. She would pick them out seductively, then she would entice them. A predator and their prey. She could already taste his blood. She lured them away from their happiness. She wanted nothing less than everything. His children would know fatherlessness. Hurt people, hurt people.